Hey everyone, it's nice to be here with you. Please come in the front. I got goodies. Come in the front if you want the goodies. Yeah, look at that. Whoops. I think I got 20 of them. You know what's a whoop, right? Anyone has a whoop? Wow. Anyone has a whoop from Alea? Okay. So there's 20 whoops. All right, so we're going to be talking about well-being at work. It's a subject that's very important for me because I think it's the best gift you can offer to your employees. And when I say to your employees, I must correct myself and say to ourselves, because I'm part of that tribe. So we started in 2012. We were an operator. We were operating a casino called Slots Million. And I don't think we were very different from any other companies. We were offering free water, in this big bubble thing that you push, and it's called a fontaine, I think, but in a plastic jar. We were offering free Nespresso, which was already something. Don't laugh. The capsules cost 33 cents, and a friend of mine in his company would sell it for €1 to his employees. They had to put €1 in a machine to get a cap that he was buying for 33 cents, and we were offering for free. And we had free fruits. Yes, free fruits, fresh fruits, I remember. That was the top of what we were doing. And we were already quite proud of it, okay? And then in 2020, COVID came. Two things happened to Alea. First of all, I split with my ex-business partner. He took over the B2C business and he took over the B2B business, which is what we have today. Alea is a game aggregator. We revamped the company. I refounded it with my new co-founder, Charlotte Lecomte, and we invested over $1 million in offices in Barcelona. In these offices today, basically, we have two offices, but the main one looks like a spa. We got 300 square meters that are a big hyperbaric chamber, a small hyperbaric chamber, a sauna, a cold plunge, a gym, 2 to 3 times personal trainers training employees. We have glass bottled water, which is very important in order to avoid microplastics. We have incandescent lights. We try to avoid as much as possible LED lights because these LED lights are really bad. They're flickering. Your brain perceives it, even if your eye doesn't perceive it. They're flickering lights. They affect your brain. They're bad for skin cancer. They create depression and anxiety. So we try to have this incandescent light, that disappear because basically they create heat. But they also have infrared and near-infrared lights. So what I was saying, air and light, we analyzed the air because we are in the industrial zone. So we had big machines during 1 week that were basically processing the air. We wanted to show that there is no asbestos, that there is no chemicals inside the air. Be sure that our people are going to work with fresh air, fresh water, and light. Water and nutrition. I told you about the glass bottles. So it's Sant'Agnol. It's not just glass bottled water. It's coming from volcanoes, which means that they're not contaminated by farming. Okay, that's another very important point. Vichy Catalan, sparkling water, coming from Catalonia. We are in Catalonia, so it's important. And we have now bio, locally harvested fruits, much more choice than before, and fresh nuts. And everybody in the company, we started with Ura. We had a partnership with Ura. Didn't work out very well. Basically, we didn't have any account management from them. We switched to Whoop. We still don't have any account management. It's not much better. But there is a very interesting community feature that some of you have experienced where we can share data together. You have it in Ura too. It's called Cycles. But in Whoop, it's much better done. And every morning when I wake up, I go there and I look at myself, I look at the team, we can compare the data. We have also a WhatsApp application. We have an internal biohacker that is giving us challenges every day. I'm going to talk more about that later, but I'm just going to give you one advice. If you want to see your resting heart rate going down and your HRV, which is your heart rate variability, going up, which is a good thing, in the morning and have a very good recovery, it's just one thing to do, one easy hack, or two, don't drink alcohol at all. Never. You can have sex. Sex is fine. Masturbation is fine too, but it brings less benefit than sex. And I'm not saying that. No. It's the chief scientist, whatever, of Whoop. She explained that, Kirsten, whatever her name is, because they track every morning when I wake up. Whoop asks me, did you masturbate? No. Did you have sex? Neither. And they've seen that sex is bringing more benefit than masturbation. And thank you for applauding. Even I mean, that's nothing to do with me, but I see that makes you happy. The reason why they think, because they don't know, is because of the release of oxytocin that you have when you have an encounter, a romantic or sexual encounter with another human being that you don't have with your own hands. Unfortunately, so yes. Let's move on because we could go around that subject a lot. So what happened in 2020? It was literally what I can call a catastrophe. It was COVID. Hit us very badly in Barcelona. No drama, but my father died the first week. So I clearly took conscience of the impact of COVID. We had people that died that were, one guy specifically was a contractor, an handyman, that died 2 or 3 weeks after. And a lot of people died in Barcelona. It was really bad. We went on the curfew for 1 year. And I had an hyperbaric chamber at home, and I feel safe because I had it. Because what happened when you have COVID, basically, it's not just a respiratory disease, it's a cardiovascular disease. Okay, so your blood cannot pair with oxygen anymore. Hemoglobin, and especially the heme that's in the blood, cannot pair with oxygen anymore. And basically what happened is that your level of oxygens, they go down day by day for, let's say, 6 to 9 days, what that's called the acute phase, okay? And you become bluish, slowly, and your organs are oxygen deprivated. So your brain, your heart, all your organs. And let's say that the first thing that will fall will be a kidney. Then the burden will go on another kidney. Then the pancreas will fall down. I mean, they start functioning correctly, or they completely stop functioning. The liver, the heart, the brain, and that's how you die. You don't die because you can't breathe. I mean, some people are their lungs infected. That would be a pneumonia, which would be a side effect of COVID. So, and I knew it because 1.5 years after that, I had COVID, and I could see my oxygen level going down. I would just go in the chamber, and they would go back up. I would get out, and I could see after 3 or 4 hours, they would go down. I would go back inside, and I had that lifeline, which maintained me alive. You're thinking now, yeah, COVID is nothing. Yeah, today COVID is nothing. Today COVID is nothing because we got used to it. And I don't want to go into the controversy of the vaccine, whether it's thanks to the vaccine or without the vaccine, but basically when a virus affects the human population, it's deadly, and slowly, after a couple of iterations, it's less deadly. Okay? That's how viruses work, our body adapts. Okay, so Omicron, if you remember, the second wave of COVID was not as deadly as the first wave of COVID. I don't even remember if it had a name or whatever, but Omicron, you would get infected much easier, but it wasn't deadly. Okay? First version of COVID was really deadly. So what did we do? Knowing that we are second, third week of February, we start seeing people dying and falling like flies. And I'm thinking, I have this hyperbaric chamber home, but I can't bring my stuff home, you know? Back in time, my lovely girlfriend would have killed me. So we had to have a hyperbaric chamber at the office, and a big one, you know, in order to put 2, 3, 4 people. The one that you see that we bring at the conferences, where also I do my podcast Under Pressure, if you heard about it. So this big chamber, okay? And I called the manufacturer. I said, please, guys, could you bring that chamber very quickly? And they said, actually, there's one going for Real Madrid. And I said, bring it to me. I said, yeah, we can't. It's Real Madrid. And say, you remember this small chamber I bought to you in 2018? And that was going to me, and you gave it to Sergio Ramos, which was the captain of Real Madrid. So now can you please return the favor and give it to me? And they said, okay, we're friends now. We knew each other. Valentin is a very good friend of mine. He's the founder of the company. They brought it. They mounted it in 1 week. It was in the office. And now my crazy plan was to go at night at the apartment of my employees. If they were sick, they would call me, and I would bring them completely legally inside the company and put them in the hyperbaric chamber and buy pizzas or whatever, and try to have a little hospital and keep them alive inside the company with the hyperbaric chambers sitting in the middle. We never used it for that. The vaccine came to our rescue. You notice my irony holds on. I didn't get the vaccine myself. But basically, at some point, everything went fine. So now we have a hyperbaric chamber in the office, and people, they use it. They started using it for, so it's this thing. People start using it for relaxing, having meetings. You know, when we have a conversation about black markets and want to be sure that nobody's going to listen to us with microphones, we go in the chamber. Okay, that's what you use it for. The pink markets, pre-regulated emerging markets. That's where we talk about this. Okay, that's what we use it for. We also use it because it makes you feel better. It makes you feel sharper. If you had a night, especially in conferences, I can feel it. If I used to drink before, I don't drink anymore, but hangover, sleepless night, sleep deprivation, you go in a hyperbaric chamber, half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, you feel much better, much quicker, because basically your brain, all your organs receive extra oxygen under pressure. The pressure is important. I forgot to tell you something. Why does it work for COVID, and why also does it work in general? They did something to pigs. They took pigs, they removed the blood, keep them alive like with a pumping blood machine. They centrifuged their blood, and they took the red thing, the hemoglobin, out of the blood and re-injected them just with the plasma. You know, when you re-inject it in your hair and your face when you do PRP therapy, you know? You can't live with plasma instead of blood because it doesn't vehiculate oxygen. It's the hemoglobin, the red stuff, that vehiculates it. So the pig does. Okay? When they take this pig with plasma and they put it in the hyperbaric chamber at 3 atmosphere, they can live forever. Plasma now can vehiculate oxygen with the pressure. That's the beauty of this very old technology. It's from 18th century, I think. It's that it allows plasma to vehiculate oxygen. And that's why it can save you from COVID. And remember, maybe some of you remember, most of you don't, that at some point when all the planes were grounded, remember we couldn't fly, they wanted to transform airports and all these grounded planes into giant hyperbaric chamber where they could put hundreds of people inside and put the pressure like they do when the plane is flying, and you had the oxygen mask, and they could potentially save a lot of people, because when you were going at the hospital, they would put your mask on the face and just blow oxygen into your lungs that could be damaged already, and it wouldn't help. The oxygen exchange between the oxygen and and your lungs wouldn't function. Okay, you need the pressure to be all around, not just like blown into your lungs. And they didn't do it because at some point, vaccine or not, Omicron, whatever, COVID wasn't deadly anymore. So let's talk about wellness and why wellness should be at the center of our operations. And let's talk about basic things that you can do to improve your health. Sunlight first thing in the morning. We need sun. We need sun to be happy. We need sun to sleep well. We need sun to create melatonin that we will use at night to sleep. We need sun to raise your level of cortisol. Cortisol is not bad. What's bad is to have high level of cortisol during all day. And you may have higher level of cortisol during all day if you don't have the shoot of sun in the morning, because it's going to raise slowly and then stay up and then not go down at night. What you want is to have a strong rise of cortisol in the morning, thanks to sunlight, and then slowly it goes down and melatonin starts kicking in because of the sunlight. Cold shower, very important, wakes you up, have many benefits, heart rate down. Basically, you should take a cold shower and then you go out, you walk to the office 30 minutes, you take your sunlight, and there's one simple exercise you should do if you don't exercise, it's squats. Just do 10 squats. And there's a study that shows that doing 10 squats every 45 minutes during 8 hours is as beneficial as walking 30 minutes. But it has other benefits. First of all, you can do gym 3 times per week, and you still gonna have cardiovascular problem. Why? Because you're sitting all day, and your Apple Watch and your Fitbit watch and all this little device we have here to remind you that you should get up. So it's not just about doing gym, it's about not being seated, okay? Some scientists argue, yes, but our ancestors, they were seated all day. Yes, but they were moving more than us. They were moving every like 45 minutes or something like that. Also something else, they were not seated on a chair. They were seated like that. Many people can't do this position. I'm 54 years old, and I'm happy to say I can. I can even open the legs and move like that, and many people can't do that, and that's actually a very good biological marker of how healthy you are. Just this little thing here. Vivian, I'm not even listening to you. No, you see? You asked us to go a little bit lower. Low. Yeah. Perfect. Good. Go on. Yes. You need to exercise one thing, your legs, from here to here. You can also exercise upper body. Why the legs are so important? There is a study that shows that there's an inverse correlation between the size of the legs of a woman, the muscles she has, and brain cognition issues. What does it mean? Less brain cognition issues if you have big legs. These muscles are very important. The more muscles you have here, the better your brain works. So the first muscle that's the most important is the calves. They're called the second heart. They pump back the blood toward up there, okay? So the heart doesn't have to do it. It's done by these muscles, the calves. Then your quadriceps are very important. And there's something that's even more important. It's your glutes. We are the species that has the biggest glutes compared to the rest of our bodies. We have bigger glutes than elephants compared to the rest of their bodies, of course, always. So glutes are very important, and that's why when you sit in that normal position, not in the squatting one, your glutes actually are shrinking. Okay, so we all have these flat glutes, and we want to have more rounded glutes because it's healthier, because it makes us look sexier. It attracts the other gender. Okay, coffee window, not the first 90 minutes. I'm not going to go into details, and not 10 hours before you go to bed. Okay, food and fasting. That could be like 2 hours, just about that. But fast as much as you can. It's a very important practice. Move early. We said that. Stay hydrated. It's an obvious one. Dim light at night. Light is like cocaine, really. At night, the last hour, this type of lights, try put them off. You're not gonna sleep. Try something. Take the light out. No phone. You can have your computer far away from you. Minimum light. You're not gonna see anything, and then you're gonna adapt. You start yawning after 30 minutes. You close the computer, you fall asleep. What's also like cocaine? I forgot to tell you. Cold plunge. Cold plunge multiply your level of serotonin by 2.5, which is the same amount than cocaine. That's the same effect than the line of cocaine. Line of cocaine lasts 30 minutes. Cold plunge lasts between 4 to 6 hours. Raise also dopamine, norepinephrine, everything that end up within at the end, endorphins, etc., etc. It has what's called an entourage effect. Okay, try cold plunge, try cold shower. It's very, very uncomfortable, but it will make you a happier person. It has a strong impact on the mood. Screen-free bedtime, no alcohol again. Even that one glass of wine per week, if it's every week, lowers your baseline of dopamine. Cheers. And we're not going to talk about the invisible health tax of these conferences we're doing. We're not going to talk about that. But there's a new study, and you see we've just started here. Radiation. It's not just the fact that you smell this gasoline shit, that you are with 200 people that have bodies, and in their bodies they carry bacteria and viruses, and we breathe the same air. It's not just that. It's not the pressure, the low pressure, the opposite than the hyperbaric chamber with as high pressure. It's also radiation. There's less atmosphere protecting us from the radiation of the sun. I think that's a 2 or 3 hours flight equals one lung radio. Imagine if you take, I don't know, like 20, 30 flights per year, how many of these radios, it's completely insane. And sometimes remember that you also need to go through that portal, that scans you in some airports, and you add on top of it. Plus the fact that here, Sigma, we're going to be 30,000 people together. Even if we're not, how many times do we shake hands? And humans, they do something when they shake hands, we touch our face. Why we do that? We wanted this bacteria coming from the other to go in our mouth. It was good. It was fine because it made us stronger. When you meet 1 or 2 or 3 people per day, when you meet 100 to 200 of them, it's a little bit too much for your immune system. And that's why when you get back home, you get diarrhea, you start coughing, you feel like shit. You drink alcohol on top of it, which lowered your immune system. These conferences are terrible for us, so at least let's not drink, sleep well, and try to wash hands as much as we can. Thank you very much.